Humans of the cardboard, welcome back to Just Nuts, guys. Today we need to cover a brand new card dropped. It's actually a brand new FISHBORG card, which is pretty interesting because I've kind of been taking a look at some of the Atlantean Mermail stuff that's kind of out right now. It's an interesting deck, but we're also looking at a potential Atlantean structure deck later in the year, potentially. Konami's not announced it or anything. And you know Konami, they like to pair things together. They like to hype other cards by making other cards that kind of give them a reason to be hyped. So would they make a Mermail support in a core set around the time Atlantean support comes out, and then you go back and you look at a card like this that came out earlier in the year, and again, it just perpetuates the hype. Anyway, one card, FISHBORG support. Hopefully it's good. Sorry this is a little bit late. My computer wasn't, my Wi-Fi was all janked up this morning, so I couldn't do it before I had to go to work, but we're here now. I want to get you guys this news here. So here we go. This is FISHBORG Harpooner. This is a level 4 water fish tuner effect monster. 400 attack, 400 defense. You can only use the first effect of this card's effects once per turn. You can reveal this card and one other water monster in your hand. Special summon one of them, and if you do, discard the other. Very, very cool effect. Very solid extension effect. We'll come back and we'll talk more about this in a second. The second effect says, if this card is sent to the graveyard as material for a synchro summon of a water monster, you can negate the effects of one effect monster your opponent controls until the end of this turn. That is non-targeting, which is a little bit nice. Little bonus effect, not the most crucial effect on this card, but it's a little effect that kind of helps you play into boards going second, potentially. And also, if you can quick effect to use this as like synchro material on the opponent's turn, that could also lead to this card getting you an extra negate, which is not bad at all either. But looking at the main effect, it's definitely this one, right? I think the biggest thing here is that it's an extender and it has these specs. It's a level 4 water fish tuner. The tuner also helps as well, obviously for synchro lines, but level 4 is really nice. This now becomes another extendable level 4 that water that can help you make Bahamut Shark into totally awesome in certain decks. That's definitely really good in certain water decks. And this first effect is really interesting, right? Because we've seen a number of water monsters that have effects similar to this, whether it's some of the Mermail monsters like Teus and Abyss Megalo, whether it's the new Ice Jade monster that pitches another water from hand to summon itself in a tuner. This one's not nearly as powerful as those, right? Because it, while it does get a monster on field, you're pitching the other, and Teus gets you a card, Megalo gets you a card. The Ice Shade gets you an extra body, so they're facilitating more than just one body on field like this one does. But the fact that this one generically can pull any water out of the hand does add a little bit of extra oomph to this card. I mean, if you're thinking about stuff like Mermail specifically, it does make me wonder about certain cards such as Neptibus, the Atlantean Prince. Sometimes the deck can open a little bit heavy on water monsters, maybe even normal summons. And so if you open a hand that's something like Deep Sea Diva, Neptibus, and this card, you're able to normal summon Diva to beta negate. You're basically asking your opponent to hit it with a negate because it's a very good card to negate with a hand trap if you have one. And then you can use this card's effect to summon the Neptibus pitching itself, and then boom, activate Neptibus and you're off to the races, right? He pitches for cost, and it didn't feel like you had to just hold Deep Sea Diva in hand and like waste. You got to actually like play through a hand trap. You still got the entire same gain. You just had to use an extra card or two in hand to get there. And it's pretty interesting. So I don't know. Again, FISHBORGs aren't the easiest to access archetype, but I know there are actually some other cards that can actually pull fish out of the deck. So that could also potentially come up there. So there might be some extra searchability, but card's cool. I think it's interesting. I think the last thing that you have to consider as well, deck-wise, that this could be particularly interesting, and I'm sure there are some other water ones. If you have any other suggestions, throw it out there. I'd love to hear them. But it has to be Goatee, right? Feels like Konami's been trying to push Goatees for a while now. They got their 2 new cards in Phantom Nightmare that we're about to get. Then they have this card, and just it feels like Konami's dropping fish stuff here and there all over the place. This card alone isn't going to be enough, but in conjunction with their support, and maybe if Konami keeps it coming, there could be a world where it actually comes together all together. One more thing to say specifically for Atlanteans, the one downside of this card for sure in that synergy, mishmash there, This card I don't believe triggers any of the Atlantean cards that are worded like this card. If this card is sent to the graveyard to activate a water monster's effect, unfortunately, because this card pitches the monster as effect, not as cost, it actually won't trigger Dragoons or Heavy Infantry or any of those cards. So kind of a bummer there. You know, it's not the end of the world, but, you know, that is definitely something worth noting. But that's it for me here, guys. Thank you so much for watching, as always. Let me know your thoughts down below on this card. Are there any other archetypes you'd consider this card in, or any other synergies you think are just worth noting? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on this, because I do think this is a card that could come up in some water decks down the line. Let me know your thoughts on this. But I'm out of here for today. Again, we're like 15 cards left and only like 10 days. So I'm bringing you anything that drops between now and then. Stay tuned. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.